Ladies and gentlemen, KocoSports.com proudly presents Wrestle AM. It's half wrestling show, half morning show, pretty much all BS. And of course, you got the Koco Crew here holding it down live. Yours truly, the sexiest man on all Internet Wrestling Radio. It's right, boom, boom, here, shaking the room live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. And of course, joining me way down there in the deep south, talking about the man, the myth, the legend. Talk about none other than Sammy Sinister. Sammy, man, good to see you again. I mean, we both been a little busy, man, because I've got a career, you had a vacation, and Dave, Dave's like, oh, my youngest son is sick. I gotta go to work. And then LK's like, I have to sleep. It's 4 a.m.
Fucking excuses. Of course, I got them all too. Like, you're on vacation with your family and seeing that's gay. Talk about wrestling. Okay, guys, we'll get there.
Oh, definitely going to get there, man. Well, let's see, another NXT takeover in the books here. And of course, the first question we ask is win, loss, or tie. So, guys, let me know what you think down here over in the comments section. Over here in the chat room, we'll be checking out your questions and comments. But so, Sammy, first question of the night, man, win, loss, or tie? What say you, sir?
Tie, just a tie. This is the third week in a row that NXT's been a tie for me. And we talked about this earlier. Like, there were some okay matches. There were some bad matches. But just, like, we talked about this last week, going up to Dallas, they filmed, like, I swear, 2 months of television in one night. And we're still looking at TVs from whenever they did that taping at Axcess.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is, but it just makes it boring. And they need to get back and start. Honestly, you know what I think they should do? I think they need to do kind of like how Raw used to do and do like 2 weeks taped, 2 weeks live, 2 weeks taped, or do like an hour taped, hour live. You know what I mean? Like, just switch it up because, goddamn, it's we'll get into it. It's a tie.
Yeah, I absolutely. I agree with you. I'm going to give it a tie too. I mean, I don't think it was bad.
No,
I don't think it was like just amazing, but I was just like, okay, it happened. It's like one of those, if I had a friend of mine was like, oh, what's this NXT thing? I would be like, no, don't watch this show. I don't need you to watch this one yet. If I really want you to see what NXT is about, you can't watch this show because this show is almost 4 weeks old. And I'm sorry. It's just, they've kind of got like, they've kind of followed that rut that Ring of Honor does. Well, Ring of Honor will go do like a pay-per-view and they'll take like 57 fucking hours of TV.
Oh my God.
And then they'll like do like another pay-per-view, then they'll take like 107 hours worth of TV, and it's like the same fans, same area, same place, same everything. There's just no variety. You could tell everything's dated, it's in the can. But I'll say this, at least with Ring of Honor, like I watched some old stuff with them, but at least that shit was fucking entertaining. Sorry. All right. Let's get down to it here. First match is actually a women's match. We had Asuka, the newly crowned NXT Women's Champion, taking on the Red Queen herself, Eva Marie.
This match was bad.
Yeah, I will say this. I think this was Eva Marie's longest singles match to date.
I think so.
I think they went just a hair over 10 minutes in there, and you could tell. I mean, you could tell Asuka's like trying to work with this chick. I mean, she's stopping, she's doing rest holds. She is I'm surprised her back didn't give out. That's how much she was carrying Eva Marie. Yeah, just completely carrying her the entire match. And I know a few months ago, I got a little heat for saying that I think, Eva Marie had improved in the ring. And, and I will still stand by those comments. I think she has gotten better. But however, after that point, I haven't seen any more improvement. I mean, I have not seen anything new out of her. I haven't seen anything else. I mean, this was just a boring squash match. And I could tell Asuka's being like extremely generous. It's like, okay, this is where I earn my fucking money. Punch the clock. Here we go. It was just trying to put her over.
It was a squash match that they didn't present like a squash match. And, God, it was just – they say the best wrestlers make other wrestlers look better. But Eva Marie is such a poor wrestler that even Asuka, who's my favorite female wrestler in the world right now, could do nothing for this poor girl. And you know what? I'm going to agree with you. Eva Marie did get a lot better there for a little while. But if you have a turd and you put sprinkles on a turd, still a turd. It's a good thing because she's fucking hot as hell. Oh my god, she's a beautiful woman. But God, this match was just bad.
And and there are, believe it or not, she's actually got her defenders.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. She's actually got her defenders. So it's like, well, I mean, she's a bad guy and all that. And I'm like, you know how we usually say when it comes to heels, we always say like apologize to Rick Rude. We say apologize to Rick Rude because Rick Rude, for those of you, and this is, God, I can say this now, but for you young folks out there who may not know, now Rick Rude, man, was like in his heyday, man. He was a phenomenal heel. He was in great shape. He could talk on the microphone. He could get you ready to jump the security rail, ready to kick his ass. He would drive you fucking crazy. But the bottom line was he was a bad guy that could wrestle. So to Eva Marie, and not really to Eva Marie because she's not the one saying it, it's her defenders. I would tell them, you know what? Go apologize to Sherry Martel.
Yeah.
Apologize to Luna Vachon because those were women that could get you wild up. They were bad guys, but they could wrestle. They could wrestle, so it can be done. So to those defenders, I say, apologize to Sherry Martel. Ooh, that's a new. I think we got a new hashtag. Hashtag apologize to Sherry. Hashtag apologize to Luna. All right, next here we had this was in fact, here we go, another squash match here. We had the Revival, Dash and Dawson taking on Matt Lee and Jeff Parker.
I literally in my notes wrote, "This is how much I didn't care." I wrote the Revival versus somebody. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I know why they did it.
Yeah,
they did it because they want to get the heat back on the Revival. They want to show, okay, they try to get them back strong, and obviously they're going to have to exercise their rematch clause soon. So you want to kind of build them back up that, like, hey, they may be a serious threat to Jordan and Gable.
Yeah.
But that's all it was to it. That's all there was to it.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to be a staunch defender of this. People always talk about how great wrestling was back in the day. Old style's the best. Old style's the best. Well, back in the day, most TVs were this. There were squash matches between, Davey Boy versus no-name dude, and they would just destroy him. That's not fun to watch. And there's going to be some gripey old salty veterans like, hey, there it is, blah, 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 work a hold, kid, blah, blah, blah. Shit's just not fun to watch. Why do you think wrestling's more popular now than another bold statement, I think wrestling's more popular now than it's ever been before. Between all the promotions.
There was a period, back when I started watching wrestling back in the 80s, that was the formula. It was, you would have, on a show, you would have, like, it would be like, I don't know, it'd be, Andre the Giant versus Lewis, the bedridden guy with scabies. And it would just be like, what the fuck, It'd be like, this what? And that's what the whole fucking show would be. Like at the end, you may have like a main event where it'd be like, Ron Bass versus the Brooklyn Brawler. Just like, oh, well, there's two guys who actually kind of have some name power here. And, with that formula, WWE, I don't want to say they almost went bankrupt, but they weren't doing too well financially till they kind of switched, till they kind of got out of that mentality.
Yeah. For sure.
So that's when people are like, oh, you need to bring back squash matches. You need to bring back squash match. Okay, here was a squash match. Did you care? Did you want to watch it? Do you know who these guys are? Do you even care who these other guys were? Did you even did you think in your mind for 1 second that these guys could have pulled off the upset? No. This is why we don't do squash matches anymore. And by the way, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, but here's another thing I was disappointed about the show. I forgot. I didn't mean to gloss over this, but the whole point of this show was to break the news that, hey, we've got a new NXT champion. We've got footage from the show in Massachusetts. We're going to show that. I thought, okay, they're going to show the match in its entirety. They're going to show how Finn Balor. No. We got about a minute and a half of cleaner footage of what we saw on the internet. That's pretty much all. Oh, and hell, that's what they did. They actually took like a compilation of all the YouTube and videos and Twitter videos that people were posting, and they put a collage of it on the fucking screen. It's like, oh, here, did you see it? You know, you got to go to the house shows. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, what's going to happen. And here's, there's Joe. You know, what does he have to say? And I'm like, this was kind of a ripoff. I think they really undersold this. I mean, that's
absolutely.
You know, I'm a news guy, and we have a term for something like this. We call it burying the lead. And the lead is kind of like your headline. You know, what's the story about? What's the big surprising? You know, the newest thing, the big surprising thing.
Yeah. And
burying the lead is if you put that like 2 or 3 lines down into the story. That's burying the lead. The lead is you've got a brand new NXT champion. He pulled off arguably an upset at a house show in Massachusetts. You know, now the question should be, okay, Finn Balor looked hurt. Is he seriously hurt? You know, what's his condition? Okay, what about his rematch? You know, are they going to have a rematch? Are they going to have a rematch coming up anytime soon? Okay, what does this do in terms of like number one contenders? How do you determine the new number one contender? Are you going to have to hold a tournament? Are you going to have a series of matches? You know, who's in the running to be like a number one contender? There's all these other kind of questions that are just like, oh, by the way, in Massachusetts, Samoa Joe, after 6 years of fucking trying and 800 matches, he finally beat Finn Balor. Yeah, I just thought you might like to know that.
But don't worry about that, because here's the Hype Brothers. Like, seriously? Me and Dave did a quick little small video on Samoa Joe winning. I'm going to retract some of what I said. He should not, if Joe was going to win, he should not have won at TakeOver, and this is why I think that. I do think Joe should win, because him winning at this house show did a couple things. A, it still should have been televised. You should have given me this match. Clearly, even if you showed in shitty quality, you had cameras there. You could have shown me this match in its entirety and been like, hey, look, if you don't have the network, you don't get to see Samoa fucking Joe beating Finn Balor and how awesome it was. So they should have televised it. But A, it protects the Demon, because the Demon's still undefeated.
Right.
Finn Balor got defeated. So that's actually really smart. So
strong. And there was actually some people putting on conspiracy theories saying that the reason that they kept the belt on Balor at TakeOver was to have him break the record. I honestly don't think that was the plan.
No.
What I think was the plan was, okay, hey, are you guys going to call up Finn Balor? No. Okay, good. We're going to keep the title on him. Oh, just kidding.
By the way, we want him.
Yeah, just kidding. I'm thinking what they're doing is they're like, hey, can you have him available? It's like, oh, fuck. We got to have him available. We got to have him drop the title. When's the next show? Massachusetts? Okay, Joe, you're going over.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, like, even if they were going to show these highlights, they could have been like, is Finn okay? Is he going to be injured? How are we going to do a number one contender? Is someone actually going to be able to take down the monster that is Samoa Joe? Make Samoa Joe look like a fucking beast. But they didn't do any of that. They literally just went, here's a couple of minutes of Samoa Joe winning. Now let's go into the Hype Bros. It is, you know what? Talking about that almost makes me want to give this show a loss. Like, almost. I'm sticking to a tie, but damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was just poor planning on their part. I'm going through my notes here. I just think they really could have done a better job. And I'll go ahead and address it now. There were some people that were disappointed that Finn Balor didn't show up on Monday night, and I understand that. But here's the thing: how hokey is that going to be? Like, he loses the title on Thursday and shows up on Raw on Monday. Let me tell you something. If they're gonna pull Finn Balor out of a hat, I promise. If they're gonna do it, if they're gonna do it, I think the earliest it'll be is this upcoming Monday.
Yeah, I could see it at Payback. I could potentially see it on Monday. I can see holding out.
Here's what I think happens at Payback. They have this match between Reigns and AJ. Anderson and Gallows comes out at some point in the match, or arguably where AJ Styles could have it all wrapped up on his own. He's about to pull the upset, and they, somehow get caught interfering, or they run into beat up Reigns or whatever, and that causes like a disqualification because God forbid we have a clean finish in WWE. And then it's like, I didn't tell you to do that. Who told you to do that? And they said, oh, well, you weren't calling the shots. We knew you weren't calling the shots. That's not who. This is our boss. And boom, they bring out Finn Balor. I mean, that's the logical way I could think of to do it. Or they may just string them along and turn on them because they may set it up to do a 6-man Reigns and the Usos versus they're a club that is quite enthusiastic of firearms.
Here's what I think about this match.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me at some point in time, because I watched NXT for the first time with my dad this weekend. He's never seen it before. He fell in love with Samoa Joe instantly. But you know what? I'll go ahead and tell you now, just because we're talking about Roman Reigns. Because I watched Monday Night Raw with him. And my dad's a wrestling fan, but he hasn't watched it in a long time. So I tried to. He was like, Reigns came out, and they're like, he's their champion? Yeah. And they're booing him? Yeah. Is he a heel? No. Why are they booing him? And I kind of explained the whole thing to him. And my dad had the greatest response of all time, which was this, and I quote, motion and all. Really? Huh. Well, fuck them and feed them fish heads. Ride that shit to the bank, and then walked off. I'm like, what? You know what? I can't argue with that.
No, I can't argue that logic here. That's the smartest fucking response I've heard to that.
Yeah. Just anybody else, like, if anyone started, I don't want to say I'm a Reigns fan, but I don't mind him. But anybody that wants to shit on Reigns, if you want to tell him, be like, fuck him and feed him fish heads. Like, there's no response to that.
No, there's no intelligent way to respond to that. No. It's like, that worked. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty.
You have won the internet. We can all go home now.
Yes, we can. All right, and you mentioned them earlier, but so we're gonna have we had another tag team match. We had the Hype Bros taking on Blake and Murphy. And ladies and gentlemen, before we do this review of this match, can we just have a moment of silence for what used to be Zack Ryder's career? Hang on. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we appreciate it, guys.
Yes. Yeah, this was just
at least he got his moment.
Yeah, he got his moment at Mania, and then he got immediately taken away, which to me made absolutely no sense because I was like, this isn't like a situation where you had to have a transit. Usually when you do something like that, it's because you have to have a transitional champion. You have to have, because you can't go typically heel to heel.
Yeah.
So you got to have like some guy to pick up the belt so that way have the other heel come in and beat him so you have a transitional champion. But this was a ladder match at Mania, so it made no sense for Ryder to be like a last-minute replacement, go in, wins the Intercontinental Championship, and then immediately drops it the next night to The Miz when you could have had Miz, who was in the match, just go ahead and win it anyway.
Just win it. But
to me, I think it stings a little bit more.
Yeah.
I have no idea why they did that, but
and poor Zack Ryder. You know what, kid? I like him. He's talented. He's fun to watch. But the second you put the word Hype Bros next to him, the Hype Brothers, the Hype Bros are to wrestling what pepper spray is to the eyes.
Oof, yeah, you ain't kidding. This was just like your standard tag team match. And by the way, what the hell's happened with Blake and Murphy? No Alexa Bliss, so minus like 10 points for no Alexa Bliss out there.
Agreed.
And her nice little booty. But that's a different story. Blake and Murphy, I thought they were going to start pushing this team because if you're going to have American Alpha, essentially, I know they're going to build up to a rematch towards with the Revival, but you got to think, you got to have some more. You got to have another tag team lined up to, be the new number one contenders against them. And Blake and Murphy are your best bet. I mean, they're their bet. Hell, I think they're the only fucking other heel tag team that they have at least has some credibility behind them.
Yeah.
And I just don't know why they keep shitting on them. I mean, these guys actually carried it. And I've got some fucking heat here because I'm like, you know what? I actually like Blake and Murphy. I don't hate Blake and Murphy. I think they stepped up when NXT needed them. When they called up the Ascension, when they called up the Lucha Dragons, they got the the tag team championships, and I think they did the best they could with what I mean, because at that point the tag team division was it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was an absolute dumpster fire, and these guys stepped up and carried that division so that they could rebuild, so they could get the vaudevillains completely settled. Before they could put together American Alpha. Before this is before they even put together the Revival.
Yeah.
They had Enzo and Cass trying to step up and be a more solid tag team. They had these guys there, and just I can't figure out why they keep shoving them further and further down the card. I don't understand it.
I don't know. Honestly, if they're going to do them like they are in NXT, they might as well go ahead and move them to the roster and just have them be a mid-card staple tag team. They need more tag teams and not people that are just paired up together. Honestly, if you put a gun to my head and say you can have one team on the main roster, the Usos or Blake and Murphy, I will choose Blake and Murphy every single time.
Yeah, because Blake and Murphy, they're like that. They get that new tag team smell without the taint of John Cena on them.
It's bad. Honestly, that's how bad this match was. We're not even talking about the match. We're talking about because it was just boring. Oh God!
Yeah, I have I know I always say this, but I have a feeling if I met Mojo Rawley in real life, I would have to murder him.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick. I really feel like that guy just like if I see him, I'd be like, listen, bro, have you heard of Ritalin? It might do some good for you. Chill the fuck out.
If I was his roommate, I might have to go sneak into his room at night and smother him with his own pillow.
Yeah, and kill him with his own shoes.
Wayne's World 2 reference plus 100 points for you, sir.
Yeah.
Give yourself a Barry Horowitz. All right, but this was roughly just like a 5-minute tag team match. It was your standard. Like when I say do like a standard, like it's like before they went out. Okay, you two guys, you do a standard tag team match. That's what they did. Yeah. Afterwards, the Revival jumped the Hype Brothers and bounced on them. Apparently, they're putting in notice all the tag teams out there. We're angry. So
cool with that. But you picked the wrong tag team. But I guess I ain't got much other choice.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they were the only faces out there. And people are like, okay, yeah, I'm really concerned. Yeah.
Somebody we found super annoying. Poor Zack Ryder. You know what? Just can we have another just 2-second pause for Zack Ryder?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Amen. Next, we had more women's action here. Ooh, women's action. I like how I said that.
Ooh.
Carmella versus Aliyah. Aliyah, this is actually, I thought this was her debut, but I checked and I went back and I found out, no, she actually appeared. This was back, I think, around January or February. She appeared in a women's battle royal.
Yeah, she was the one where Eva Marie screwed Asuka out of it and Carmella won. She was actually in that. I think she was the first one eliminated.
She was in that. So Aliyah, she's actually, kind of coming out here. Carmella, who, by the way, mad respect for. She gotten a lot better in my eyes. Oh, my God. I remember when people just when we did our year-end review,
mm-hmm.
and I actually gave Carmella my Most Improved Wrestler of the Year award. And so people were like, whoa. And I said, no, look at this. I said, when it started back in January, people were booing her.
Oh yeah.
She put together. She had horrible matches. I think she
Blue Pants beat her on several occasions.
Yeah, Blue Pants beat her in the first show of the year. And then she had a horrible match with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
And then she was going out there with Enzo and Cass, and they were getting cheered, but she was getting booed.
Yeah.
And eventually she started winning them over, and by the end of the year, she was getting loud pops. Her wrestling had improved. She'd got like 1,000,000 times better. So I gave her my Most Improved Wrestler of the Year award. But the reason I have mad respect for her is that, when Enzo and Cass moved up, I don't know if she had the option to or not, but she just said, even if she did or didn't, she's like, no, I need to stay here. I want to get better. I want to be my own person. I want to be a good wrestler.
Respect. Yeah.
So to me, that's just a ton of respect. It's what, in day and age of people like Eva Marie and the Bellas, people who want to ride other people's fucking coattails.
Yeah.
here's a woman who's like, no, I don't want to ride a man's coattails. I want to be my own person. I want to be good on my own. And maybe the time will come where she gets good enough. She'll go up there. She'll join Enzo and Cass, but still be able to do her own thing.
Yeah.
And Aliyah, man, I'm not going to say anything bad about her. I think she had a decent one. She had that decent leg drop off that middle rope.
Yeah.
She had that modified full Nelson that she was using as a submission hold, but Carmella, proved to be a little too much and did that triangle choke submission there, got the win. And it wasn't. It was kind of, it was okay. It wasn't bad.
It was probably the second best match of the night.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I know, which is kind of sad. But and it didn't go too long either. I think it went just the right amount of time. So I actually wish her a good luck. In fact, I can't wait to see it when Athena debuts. She's a new sign. She's a signee that they signed her a few months ago, and there's kind of a boom connection here with her. I actually met her, and hell, I used to interview her back when I was doing my old podcast. Back when I was affiliated with the Professional Championship Wrestling out in Arlington, Texas. She was one of the. I actually interviewed her. I had access to that talent, so I interviewed a lot of people. There, and let me tell you something. I met her, briefly, and I also interviewed her on air. And I mean, she had just started.
Yeah.
And I promise you, that girl is just as every bit as sweet as she is beautiful. And I know, and I was really excited when she got signed because I mean, it's kind of like it's like when you watch a kid in high school, you see him play there, and the next thing you find out, he got drafted to the NFL.
Yeah.
Kind of like that feeling that I had.
That's cool.
So, and I'm hoping she debuts soon, but enough of that. But Aliyah, I think she did great in what it was. I look forward to seeing what she has to offer in the future.
And they've got to get some more female talent in there because we talk about NXT getting quote rated all the time, which isn't quite this. We can't say rated because rated is what they did to ECW and all that.
Mm-hmm. It's their own talent pool. I mean, it's just like
they can pull them up whenever they want, so we can't feel bad. But they're, we talk about their men's division getting tapped out quick. Man, their women's division is slim pickings right now. So we need more.
Yeah, Bailey and Asuka have to stay down there now.
They have to. Bailey cannot go to the main roster.
I mean, I know she's promoted with NXT at least through June.
Really?
So they've got her for at least a couple more months.
I honestly think they're going to go for the Cinderella going against Asuka for the rematch story. And what I'm afraid they're going to do, even though I want Asuka to win, I think Bailey will lose, and that's when she goes to the main roster. Which is bittersweet for me because, of course, I want Asuka to win. She's my favorite female wrestler. But they just can't lose Bailey. It's so slim right now.
Mm-hmm. I've actually got a conspiracy theory, but I'll get to that after we get through what's considered the main event. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Elias Sampson. This was, I mean, what can I say? It's another great Nakamura match.
Nakamura could wrestle a chair and I'd watch it.
Oh yeah, pretty much true. I mean, Nakamura. I mean, this was Nakamura at his finest. He backed Samson in the ropes, put his head in there, kind of flailed around a little bit.
Weirdest fucking spot in the world.
I know. Samson, made a comeback. Managed to get a 2 count.
Samson didn't look bad in this match.
No, he didn't look bad at all. I don't think he did.
Well, you know what? Hold on. I've got a conspiracy theory real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy conspiracy theory. Put on your tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen. I think Elias Sampson is just Damian Sandow. I was sitting there watching it. I had to think about it. Go look at a picture of them next to each other. They're the same person.
Right. And come to think, have you ever seen Elias Sampson and Damian Sandow in the same place at the same time?
Wake up, America.
This reminds me of there was an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It was the What Wizard. And they had trouble with the internet, and there was just this big old bearded guy plugged in the internet. And
the wizard of the internet.
Yeah, the wizard of the internet. It was just it's they were trying to cancel the internet subscription. It's what, I want to talk to your supervisor. Okay, hang on. And then he put on a fake, mustache and beard over his beard. Like, yes, I'm the supervisor. I think that's the same deal. It's Damien Sandow. He's put another beard on top of his beard. Is that I'm a totally different guy now?
And apparently, it's fooled everybody but us, because no one, as far as I know, no one's made that connection.
Only here at Wrestle AM will you find that. But ultimately, Shinsuke Nakamura got the win with the Kinshasa. I think I just fucked that up. The Kinshasa. I have just fucked that up, and I apologize. Minus 100 points for me. He gets the win. They go off the air, and I'm like, wow. I think it was a good ending, but I was just like, wow. They just didn't have anything to kind of wrap everything up. I really felt like there was just a lot of things. They just dropped the ball with this episode. I think I know why. I think they had this. I think we all know what happened. They had this in the can, and then it was, oh crap, we just had our champion drop the belt. This is unexpected. We need to shoehorn this into the show. So let's cut out maybe some backstage segments. Let's cut out. I don't know. Let's not cut out any commercials. Let's not go crazy now.
Yeah, it's only on the network.
Yeah, that you already fucking pay for. It's the whole reason you pay for fucking shit. It's like when I pay for like HBO and shit like that, I don't pay. Don't want fucking commercials to pop up in the middle of goddamn Game of Thrones.
Yeah, which I still haven't watched yet. So
neither have I. But I'm just using that as an example. And it just kind of threw the show out of whack.
It did. And honestly, I think it made the show worse. But they couldn't not talk about it. You couldn't be like the elephant in the room, be like, oh, by the way, Samoa Joe won. It's annoying.
It did. And I think rather than trying to re-edit the show, I think they just said, okay, let's clear some space out of what we already got. We'll re-edit some things, and boom, just put it here. We'll put it here after the first match. We'll do that.
Yeah, why after the first match?
Yeah, I know. I mean, they mentioned it, but then they did like the first match, and then they showed that. Then they did a backstage interview with Samoa Joe, and they're like, okay, back to business as normal.
Yeah, it's even if they wanted, because they're playing it off like everyone already knew, and everyone already knew. But why not? If you're going to kayfabe things for us, keep it kayfabe. Be like, something crazy happened at a house show this weekend that you're not going to believe, but you got to stay tuned to the end to find out what happened. Like, I already know what happened, but at least I'm excited. Here's my theory. I think they need to do one live show a month. Not a pay-per-view, just do one live show a month. Tape, or maybe two. Do one live show, do a couple of tapings. Because that's going to let you stay on top of things a little bit better. WWE's done it in the past. They've made it work. It's a bit WCW in the ass with Mankind. So I think they could do that. And I think a part of the problem with the show for me, and the reason I gave it a low tie, is that I watched Lucha Underground and then immediately watched this. Which, when you go from Lucha Underground to this, you're going to be a little disappointed.
And I should mention here that, and this is just kind of like some breaking news here, but Rich Brennan apparently has been released by WWE. One of the announcers they had back there with the NXT, Rich Brennan, he kind of been buried in the shuffle as of late.
Yeah, I mean, oh well. Sucks, man. Sorry. Hope it does good for you. I mean, they've really got a good team going on right now with Tom and the fuck's his name? Corey Graves. Well, a lot of people hate, but that's good because he's a really good heel announcer, and I think that kid's going to go places.
Okay. Sorry, I'm working through like some rumors right now, but you know what? I want to get to a conspiracy theory here, and this is something I was saving. And this is like dealing with WWE as a whole here, but I think there's like a power play going on in WWE right now. I have no, this is like in like any good conspiracy theory, you can't prove it. Any good conspiracy, you can't prove.
Yeah.
But it just seems kind of odd. I mean, they've called up massive amounts of NXT guys, and I'm not just talking like the usual suspects. I mean, I wasn't seeing Baron Corbin getting called up. I wasn't seeing Apollo Crews getting called up. then they started calling up 2 tag teams. Now they're signing guys that people I thought they would never sign.
Yeah,
I thought they would, now they're, they brought in Sami Zayn, they brought in AJ Styles, who I never thought they would ever hire ever. Now you got Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson.
yeah.
I think somebody's making a move somewhere behind the scenes. And I don't know if that necessarily means that, Triple H and Stephanie are getting more control, or this means that, maybe it's a sign that, Vince is, talking about, wrapping it up, calling it a career, going to retire, even though he said he'd never retire, but maybe relinquishing more control over, and they're just kind of getting things positioned. Because when you looked at Monday Night Raw, it turned into the New Japan / NXT show.
Yeah.
It did. So, that, again, I've got nothing to back this up. I can't prove I cannot prove any of this.
Yeah.
But, it just seems to me it's like, this just seems kind of unusual even for WWE, because usually, they'll pull up like a tag team. They'll pull up like a champion. They'll pull up a hot star. But they pulled up a ton of people. And the only reason you do that is you want to make a huge shakeup, because you don't want them to get absorbed into the machine. You don't want, it's just like, boom, here's all these new people. It's like when they did the Divas Revolution, they called up 3 of them at once. So that way it wasn't just like, okay, well, here's Charlotte, and, just have her interact with all the divas. Okay, now we're going to call up, Sasha Banks. And no, it was just, boom, here's all 3 of them.
Exactly. And WWE has, on the main roster, has the strongest roster in professional wrestling. Sorry, OH fanboys. Sorry, New Japan. Sorry, Lucha Underground, which is my favorite wrestling on TV right now. You cannot defend yourselves. WWE has the best roster in wrestling.
Oh yeah, that's not to say that they do the best job with that roster.
Yeah, I will absolutely 100% agree. But they have the strongest roster, and I don't know. You want to do some comments?
Yeah, let's go ahead and knock out some comments. I'm going to work on some breaking news here. I'm not going to mention it because it's just the old news hound in me. If I can't get it confirmed, I ain't going to say it. Sorry, I apologize. Let's see. Looking for questions. Are you guys reviewing Lucha Underground next? As soon as I watch it, yes, I'd like to review it.
I do believe I talked to Dave, and as soon as Boom Boom watches it, we should be doing a review sometime tomorrow. Because I watched it tonight, because I'm about the only person who gets to watch it as it airs. So just don't expect Lucha Underground reviews to show up on Wednesday, because it's just going to be really hard, because I'm really the only person that gets to watch them. So kind of be on the lookout for those on Thursday.
All right. That's what I'd like to do myself. Let's see. My thoughts on last week. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed last week's Lucha Underground. When I learned to just, just let go, just get in, buckle your seatbelt, and hang the fuck on. Once I got that mentality with Lucha Underground, it got 10 times better.
Oh yeah, man! I fucking love Lucha Underground. Anybody wants to be my best friend, send me a fucking Pentagon Junior shirt, please. Send me a shirt. I'll love you. I might marry you.
Yeah, it's legal in all states now, so there you go. Cierro miedo. Now, granted, I think the Sinestro de la Muerte, killing off the other members of, and by the way, spoiler alert. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there you go. That was your warning. I think him killing off the other 2 members of the Disciples of Death was good because the Disciples of Death, on paper, it's amazing. It's a great idea. They got a great look. They got a great concept. I like it. However, in the ring, they fucking sucked.
They weren't great. You know who they reminded me of? Mm-hmm. And I told Dave this. As a team, they just reminded me of the Putties from Power Rangers.
Yeah. Because
they would just go out there and get obliterated.
Yes, they do. I mean, these guys were trios champions, and they weren't even that good. I think one of them, and I looked at, it turns out, one of them was, Argenis, one of them was El Loco Mariachi, and I forgot who the third one was. but there was like some guys that were in a contract, that they just had them change out and become that. But they were just absolutely horrible in the ring, and I'm hoping I'm hoping they bring somebody in new to play Sinestro de la Muerte and take over and just to take the reins on that one. And actually, I hope Mil Muertes gets more minions.
Yeah.
Because then it just adds, because now he goes from having 3 minions and his woman to just a woman and one guy.
Yeah. I mean, and I made the point of this to back up your desire. I made the point with this with Dave several times that Lucha Underground doesn't have faces and heels. They have heroes and villains. That's because you could have a Mil Muertes versus Montanza match. Which, if you want to see my thoughts on that, go watch it on the channel. Let me know what you think there. But if you've watched any of my reviews on Lucha Underground, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. They don't have faces and heels. They don't have faces and heels that have heroes and villains. And good villains have minions. Fucking Megatron had an army of endless Decepticons, but he had Starscream and Sideswipe and all those guys there. So he could have his lieutenants, if you will. So he could have, the Disciples of Death and have that big guys, and then just bring in a bunch of no-name people. And doesn't have your heroes have to work through them. But I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't work for Lucha Underground, but it could. I fucking love the Lucha Underground.
Okay, good news. The breaking news I was working on, I think it's turned out to be a dud, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right, next, let's see here. What other questions we got here? Do you think Carmella will be a contender for the belt? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's with both glee and distress that I say that, because I think she absolutely will be a contender one day. It ain't against Asuka. And they're going to have some more talent for her to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna need something here. Oh, here's a good question from TJ Amars. Which 4 female wrestlers from Lucha Underground would you put on NXT between Sexy Star, Evilise, Taya, Cobra Moon, or Mariposa?
Yeah, it's bittersweet because they all work. Well, most of them work so well in Lucha Underground. I'd be scared that NXT would fumble them. But if you had to put a gun to my head, I'd probably say Evilise. She's got a good gimmick. The whole, I've seen plenty of girls do like the baddest bitch in the room thing, but she does it and it holds up.
And it would actually be sweet revenge because remember she did work for him at one point. This is back when this is back when she was with Florida Champion. This is back when it was Florida Championship Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
She was with them, and she had they actually got her to dye her hair blonde, even though I think she's. Anyway, they just kind of this was back before the whole Divas thing was taken off, and they pretty much straight up told her, okay, you're the matches we want you girls to wrestle are basically going to be the bathroom break.
Yeah.
And she just kind of had some disagreements with things. I think there was even and I do stress allegations of possible harassment. But I think really she just left there because she was just so. I think Wrestling Inc. interviewed her recently, and I think it was just differences of opinion about the direction of women's wrestling. Now, if she would have hung with it, maybe she would have been a part of this Divas revolution, but I honestly don't blame her for bailing. I mean, hell, and I'm going to tell you something that's also going to blow your mind, Sandy. You know who else used to work for WWE?
Who?
Katrina.
Really?
Yes. Back in 2011, she played the role of Maxine. Actually, she was in FCW. Played the role of Maxine. She was kind of like a general manager. Then they switched over to NXT. And when it first started, when they were doing when NXT was more like a freaking reality show rather than a promotion.
Yeah.
She was Maxine. She actually had this funny gimmick where she was handcuffed to Johnny Curtis, who would go on to play Fandango.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just left because she was just I'm tired of waiting, and she went off and did other things. And
it works, man.
Yeah, it works. But anyway, to answer your question, TJ, of all those, I mean, hell, I would be let's hire them all. Let's hire them all. No, Sexy Star, definitely, because I'm a big fan of hers. And I think I heard David said at one point she tried to get on to WWE, and they were like, "Oh, well, you're gonna have to drop the mask." And I think she was down with it, but I think they said something like she wasn't good looking enough without the mask.
So, Dave was telling us about that.
Yeah, something like, I don't know if that's true or not, but either way around, I would still get Sexy Star, Evil East definitely, and believe it or not, I would get Mariposa.
Really?
Because
that's enough of her.
Well, because that's cheerleader Melissa.
Oh, okay.
And she is, and that's what you want. I mean, I guarantee you, Sarah Del Rey, who's training the women, would definitely want Mariposa on her roster, because then she could be like the female version of like Rhino. Like a veteran who comes in there. They're kind of like a teacher, but they're also an active wrestler.
Yeah.
So that way they can get in the ring with them and wrestle programs on TV, get them ready. That's the role I would have Mariposa play.
Okay.
So she'd be like the female version of Rhino.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Oh shit! I just lost my place. Okay, found my spot here. Was Lucha Underground trying to get their hands on Athena before WWE did? I have no idea. Let's see. Which wrestler would you want WWE to sign?
There's like a lot of good choices, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you an answer to that without giving you like some ludicrous butterfly effect sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many. I'd like to see Okada, but they're gonna have to. New Japan ain't letting Okada go anywhere after they fucked up with Nakamura.
Okada won't go. I promise you, Okada won't go.
But I don't think it's because he won't go. New Japan's going to give him so much money that he ain't gonna want to go, because that's how they lost Nakamura, is they were just putting him on 1-year contracts. So when the year came up and they were like, "Okay, time to sign your contract again," he went, "Actually, I'm going to go over here." So the first chance they got, they sat Okada down, Yakuza style, and put a gun on the table, like either one of two things is going to go on this paper: your signature or your brains. And he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll make fucking millions of dollars here," because they ain't going to let him go nowhere. Same with Tanahashi. Which apparently I didn't realize. I really like Tanahashi, and someone told me I was an asshole because that's just the John Cena of Japan. I don't really care. He's still good. But God, if I had to pick one wrestler, there's so many good ones. I like Matt Sydal. I like Ricochet. I love Ricochet. This is going to sound weird. I love Ricochet. I like Prince Puma more. Pentagon Jr., but that would break my poor little heart because he's so fucking good in Lucha Underground. And if they pulled him up to WWE before Pentagon Jr. got to be the Lucha Underground champ, I might just go jump off a bridge. There you go. Pentagon Jr. That's who I'm picking.
Okay, Pentagon Jr. Dude, that's a fucking tough one, because now Sydal, WWE's had before and squandered.
Yeah, they squandered him as Evan Bourne.
So I'm going to try to leave off people that they've already hired or have had on the roster at one point.
Okay. Fair enough. Hard, man.
Yeah, it is.
Because they've got everybody right now.
I know they've got like fucking everybody. I would probably say somebody like, you know what? I'm gonna call me crazy, but I would probably say Jay Lethal.
That's a good choice.
The reason I say that is he's not going to go to TNA.
No, hell no.
Because I think that whole experience left a sour taste in his mouth, and there's not much left for him to do in Ring of Honor. He has held the television championship. He's currently the champion there. He's been the champion for almost a year. He's beaten almost everybody they have to offer.
Yep.
I mean, it's just there's not much more left for him to do there. So, I mean, I figure why not go to greener, make the jump to the E.
He would just have to come up with a better character.
No, I like the character. I think this is the best I think he's clicking on all cylinders right now.
For some reason, and again, the internet infantry hates me for this because it was on quote on record as saying I don't like Jay Lethal. I didn't say that. I like Jay Lethal. I don't like his character because it just doesn't. I don't believe him as a heel. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest problem with him. If he were to check that out some and work on it, I think he had a great place at NXT working up there. I think Jay Lethal's a good choice. Man, who else? That's a hard fucking question. There's so many people out there that are absolutely great, and then there's people, that maybe we don't even know. Like ACH is great. Would he do good in NXT? Maybe. I'll tell you who I want to stay as far away from WWE as possible. That's 3 people. Well, I'm going to say 2 names, but 3 people. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks never need to go to NXT because they would WWE would destroy their gimmick. They would not be able to. They wouldn't be allowed to be the Young Bucks. I guarantee it.
Because I mean, hell, the Young Bucks have got a great deal. They're allowed to do with their deal with Ring of Honor. They're allowed to do pretty much whatever the hell they want to do. They can work for Ring of Honor. They can work Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. They can work New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're in charge of. I believe they're in charge of their own merchandise sales. I mean, these guys are allowed to do whatever they want when they want. They can wrestle whatever style they want. But when you go to WWE, when you sign up the dotted lines, they would they would have to go to NXT.
Yeah,
they would have to. And then the thing is, when you show up there, it's like a blank slate. They don't care. They do not care what you accomplished. What you accomplished before then. All that cares is what you're doing there. So if they started acting out, kind of going into business for themselves, doing all that, no, they would they would just get buried or fired.
And not that there's not exceptions to that rule, because people like Samoa Joe came in as Samoa Joe, they claimed on it. The Bullet Club came in and they're acknowledging their run in Japan. So it's not hard stuff, but for the most part, yeah, that's the case. And so they would just. And I love the Young Bucks, so don't hear this and think that I'm hating on the Young Bucks. I think they're absolutely fantastic. And they're probably 2 of the best indie wrestlers in the world. But WWE would just destroy whatever it is the Young Bucks are working towards. And same thing with Kenny Omega, who I'm here or there on. He's not my favorite by any means. He's just kind of there. But they wouldn't let him be Kenny Omega.
All right, Nakamura versus Brock. Who wins in a legit fight?
Brock.
Sorry,
and I don't like Brock Lesnar, but he is a fucking machine. They have wrestled several times before, I know, and Brock helped train Nakamura when Nakamura was doing his MMA stuff. But I don't think it's much of a fight.
All right. Here's the opposite question. This is from Crazy Jerry. Which wrestler would you want WWE to get rid of?
That's a long-ass list.
Do not go for the low-hanging fruit. Come on, you're better than that, Sammy. Don't go for the low-hanging fruit.
That's a long list. I'm probably not going to pick who you think of. There's some guys that have some really shitty gimmicks right now that I think could do some great work on the independents by dropping their gimmick. I think Fandango is a fantastic wrestler that can do better elsewhere. I think they need to get rid of Heath Slater because, again, I think he could be good. They're not going to let him be good.
Oh, I know some people I'd get rid of. First person I'd fire, David Otunga.
Is he still around?
Exactly. That's my point. That is my fucking point.
Is he legit still wrestling?
Yeah, he's still with them. I don't know if he's wrestling, but he's still with them. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, what the hell? I was thinking about that because my son was playing that little the WWE card game on my phone, and he picked up a card. It was David Otunga. I'm like, he doesn't fucking wrestle there anymore. Why is he there? But apparently I'm wrong.
I would get rid of him. I'd get rid of Curtis Axel.
Yeah.
I'd get rid of, and this is nothing personal on this one, I'd probably get rid of Sandow.
Yeah.
Not that I hate Sandow, I just think he'd do better elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think I'd probably get rid of Adam Rose again because I think he would do better elsewhere.
Did you see where he got in a lot of heat here lately?
Oh yeah, basically they don't know. They haven't said what he tested for because he failed had a
wellness
policy fail. But then he fired back saying no, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to get you a note from my doctor. Now we haven't heard anything from him since.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's pretty. He went to Twitter and pretty much said hey, I'm taking a suspension with some grace, but I had these prescriptions that I was taking from my doctor legally for this.
Now they said that was it Victor or Connor? I think it was Victor.
Connor.
No, it was Connor.
I think it was Connor.
Yeah, because they said that what he found on was nothing illegal. So I'm thinking maybe he just didn't have a correct documentation of prescription or something.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Oh, by the way, thanks to Rick 1982, he's actually filled in the blank here. Ricky Mandel is the third member of Disciples of Death. He plays Tressé.
Okay.
Thank you. So there you go. No, and I think that's everything.
All right.
Everything. I think good show, man. Good show. Let's let me wrap this bad boy up. I want everybody to check us out at prowrestling.me. Prowrestling.net takes you the same. Well, prowrestling.me. It's our pro wrestling pub for professional wrestling fans. We've got a great community there, so sign up. It's absolutely positively 100% free. We got news, gossip on there, as well as our blogs and forums, and plus we got links to all our shows. If you happen to miss anything, check it out, and check out KocoSports.com. It's your home for combat sports. It's where the world comes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. And also be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, we've got some other reviews coming up. We're going to try to get a Lucha Underground review up within the next 24 hours. I am not going to do a Ring of Honor review from TV wise, because I just read the result, and it was stuff taken in Japan back in February.
Yeah.
So instead of wasting everybody's time with that, here's what I'm going to do. I jumped on the internet this week and I looked, and I realized we had overlooked something. This is huge. We overlooked Supercard of Honor from Texas. That was the show that they ran over WrestleMania weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was 2 nights. That's on pay-per-view if you want to go check it out. Or maybe you can find it via Internet Magic. And I would probably maybe help some people out with that. But it had some good stuff on there, particularly the fucking main event.
Really?
Which is fucking probably I'm gonna say the match they had, the match of the week in there, and dare I say possibly a match of the year contender.
Wow. Who was the main event?
The main event on night 2 was the no holds barred match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Baby.
Wow, so the main event wasn't a
No, it was not a Ring of Honor title match, and I was just I'd been watching the build-up for this, and I think it was a good ending to it. I'm not going to spoil it for those of you, so I'll do a review on that a little bit later.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that if I get some time.
LK, who is, sleeping because, it's 5 a.m. I'm thinking he's going to crank out a SmackDown review. I think he should have a TNA review up if he doesn't have one up already. I haven't checked with him a little bit later on that. Yeah, TNA's in some trouble, by the way, but that's a different story for a different show.
That's a whole show into itself, brother.
Yes, it is. And then, of course, we'll see. Oh, yeah, don't we have pay-per-view this weekend?
Yes, we do. Payback this Sunday.
Yeah, Payback. Okay, yeah, we got that this Sunday.
I got off work so I could watch it and then jump on here and talk about it with you losers.
Yeah, where? Who else? Oh, you're talking about Dave. Okay.
Fucking Dave just standing behind you for some reason.
All right, and then, of course, we'll start all over again with our Monday Night Raw review. So thanks you for sending us the love. And if you got any questions, be sure to just shoot it over at prowrestling.me. Come on in. Let's have some fun. We'll chat there. So this is Boom Boom for Sammy Sinister. The boom just went bang, and I am out.